Hello everyone! Today I am doing a little chat because one of my gaming buddies asked it, and that is how I built my decks. Now the reason for that is basically this. I've won quite some glass in the past year and a half, and well, they all think I have some kind of a secret trick that I don't want to share. So Peter, if you're watching, I'm now gonna explain it all, how I built my decks and pick my warbands, because first I have a detail that one of my friends told me that what's the big difference between my regular group, and which are usually also a large part of the people that you see at tournaments, is that I've got 30 years of wargame experience, so I think a bit different compared to most people who started around 5-6 years ago. But yeah. And for this example I'm gonna use these guys here, Mijari's Purifiers, which is my newest band, and I have been building a deck for them and played it once and well, won pretty easily with it. So it's built well, pretty nice, pretty smooth playing, so got it in the box. The thing is, I like playing elves. Why? Because for me there are three things that makes me select a warband. One, I have to like the look of them, so hence why I all my glass was one with Idenef, the two blue ones with Elephane and the red one with Karenni, because second edition Elephane is a generic warband. Two is their inspire condition. The easier they are to inspire, the more I like it. So both Idenef warbands, they inspire automatically, no hard problems to try and do it, no special fancy schmucks, just that turn one inspires, that turn two inspires. In case of Elephane, he just inspired all in the second round and uninspired for the third round, so you had that peak moment in your game when you had to do the damage. And the third of all, and that's something for the second edition that came in, is movement, because the board is so small and there are so many decks handling about treasure tokens or objective tokens or delving, that you, in my opinion, you just have to be able to get everywhere or like assassinate their best character in the first round, which was more difficult in first edition with the two boards, because even though you have more hexes now, you don't have the staggered build or even the dreaded longboarding, which meant also combined with more blocked hexes, lethal hexes and everything, your lines were wider, because now with movement 4, or ideally even if you got one guy with 5, you basically can reach anything, anywhere with one figure from turn 1 onwards, because the starting hexes are so close to each other on a new board. Movement is key for me, and elves basically all have 4. Well, I'm not talking Baganar now, because he's the heavy armored one, but that compensates with an archer with a range of 4 and even 5 when inspired. So why did I pick Mijari for the inspire condition? Well, it's that simple. They have to roll all successes either in attack or defense, and considering they have usually 2 dice and mostly even on hammers to attack, that's actually a 50-50 chance in any roll minimum that you're going to inspire anyway, so it's pretty doable to inspire them all pretty quickly. It was also the reason that 2 tournaments that I didn't play with elves this year was one with the Iron Souls, because they're dead accurate. Well, I actually played 3 tournaments, but the other one I won. That was with a Rivals tournament, and I took Raging Fury with Garrick's Reavers. Hilarious. So I ended second with that, and my Thorns of the Briar Queen, which just didn't work, and I made a grave play mistake, shame on me. Ended 5th in the tournament, but yeah, that's a bit of the idea why I pick a warband. So what I do next then is if you see any online tutorial, they all say you have to pick decks based on objectives that are easily scoreable. I don't do that. I pick my decks based on the ploys that are in there, and if those ploys, for example, help my warband in its basic stuff, like whether it's holding or killing or whatever. For example, Karenni I had coupled mostly with Rack and Ruin, because you have the pinks for Rack and Ruin all around, but they don't kill vulnerable stuff. And then you have, of course, Karenni herself with the Hammer Touch, which does kill vulnerable stuff, and you can add some nice things like the Weary Tread, where you can shuffle your character one square at the end of your turn. So if you go line it up with something that's vulnerable, which you ping to vulnerable before actually making the move even, you can just, if you get a first turn, if you're lucky, it's always a 50-50 chance that you can start, well, you can just ping it off the board. And that works pretty well. Also a bit that comes into play there is studying your boards. Not many people do that, but there's like one board side on the 5s that is very interesting for Karenni, because that way she can draw 2 lines. And I had the luck in a 5-round tournament that I got to choose the board 3 times, so of course I put it like that. And in the other 2 times, one of my opponents actually put it in my ideal position, so that helped as well to usually immediately get off with a ping in the first round, even if he goes first and moves something. So that's always a bonus if you can do that immediate damage without too much effort, and then sending one of the trolls hopefully to finish whatever you pinged off. And then you're round 1, second activation, you're already up 1. So it's just a matter on, in that deck it was a matter of which objectives that I had, depending which troll or the squid Sephanir that I would inspire. So it's a bit the same. With my Jerry now, I played a bit different like they're all thinking of. Most people think my Jerry and Bacanar being the main characters. Now for me, my deck is built around Eileen the Swordsman and the Archer Senecha, because, well, it's a bit key, so I'm gonna have a show it a bit. But I have like cards in there like a Sally Forth or a Perfect Strike, and those are all pretty smoothly scoreable. Get stuck in, that's also something like that. With a character that can either go ranged, or in the case of the Swordsman is very accurate, because as long as his token you also have that flank bonus. So he hits really smoothly and then immediately inspires. Mijari himself I'm barely using. He's mostly it's a deck based around Emberstone Sentinels for a bit of the holding and Blazing Assault, so a pretty classic combination though. But the one is holding, the other is aggro, and that's also how I split up my band. So Mijari himself, he's in the backfield for the token holding in my half, or venturing at most to neutral territory for things like Iron Grasp. While Bacanar, he's a bit of like my free piece who can go either on my side to help out if there are infiltrators or I need to grab more objectives. Because with the new objective placement rule, you can really put 2 into the iron in the neutral territory now, and only 1 in your territory, which helps a lot if you need to have all objective tokens in friendly territory. Think about that one. And well, he's just great of smacking something up that might run into your half, jump on your treasure token, delves it, and then you just smack it off and turn it around. And usually the small critters that run that fast, they also end up giving you a glory because you just smacked their head in. So there. That's a bit of the game plan with the warband. But as I said, so I first see to the ploys, which play to the strengths of the warband, so that any ploy that I draw, well, just bumps towards my goal. And then I'm going to see for the objectives, which are, as I said in this case, half aggressive, half defensive, because then you have 2 angles where you can aim at, depending a bit on your draw and your placement. And like that, I'm just tinkering my deck so that basically the War Scroll with supplemented by the ploys, based on those I'm gonna select the objectives that I want to play. But to choose the decks that I'm playing, I'm first looking at the War Scroll and then at the decks which has the most suitable ploys, not objectives, ploys that go with the warband skills, upgrades and everything you like. So that might be helping with Inspire, or that might be if they need to do X damage or X attacks or something, so then I'll go to a more aggressive decks. In case of Mijari now, well, you have the Aether Quartz that helps out a lot, so you can go, they're the perfect all-round band with a good movement. As I said, movement is key. Push cards, they're great in this game. Pin cards, they're handy in this game. But yeah, based on that, then I'm gonna check out my objectives and see which surges are easily scoreable, but also which in-game in-turn objectives can be scored even if I go down 1 elf and or even 2 elves and still have enough cards to well, or figures, bodies, to actually score those. So that's a bit of second one. So that's why I have here cards like objectives of the hard type. What do we have here? The Iron Grasp. That's one of them. The End Phases. The Keep Chopping, which you can score easily with the Archer and the Swordsman combined. So things like that. I even put in Supremacy, just because you need 2 Ls and 2 objectives. And if you put 2 in neutral, 1 in your friendly, it's pretty easily to score, even in round 1. So again, that's what I say. Speed is all, because you can see which if your opponent what he's playing, which objective he might be ignoring. Then your last activation, strike in. I deal with Bachanar, but he's the slowest of the bunch. But you can do it with the Swordsman as well. So that's a bit of the way that I go about selecting my objectives. For upgrades, basically that's the part that I look the least at. I just see, well, I'd never see to the value, because if you can't pay for your upgrades, something is going seriously wrong to start with, or you kept the wrong opening hand. But I tend to see to things that, well, I'm not looking for cards that give Grievous or an attack dice, not great strength. Great Fortitude is always handy, even though I don't always take it, because an elf has 4 wounds, whether people have a fetish with a 3 damage attack characters. Now, I don't really have that, because if it does 3 damage and he becomes vulnerable, that means that almost 75% of all the pink cards in the game can't target him anymore. Okay. If he does a 2 damage one, then he can ping it, but it still goes to vulnerable. But you need 2 attacks unless you have a 3 damage with Grievous, but as when something is inspired, and you're talking really big beasts, Moloch and the likes. So, but yeah, in general, whether you're hit by a 3 attack or a 3 damage or a 2 damage attack, it doesn't matter. They still need to hit you a second time and spend a second activation to actually take your figure out. So why should I bother with a Great Fortitude? That still makes, yeah, if they only have 2 damage, then you can survive 3 attacks, but then you already need to, if he has a 3 damage figure, you need to assassinate that one ASAP. And for example, with the Grimwatch, it keeps coming back, so it has no use to go after it. You just need to take Crack Meadow out there. But yeah, that's a bit of a thing. And same with the Healing Potion. If I got a spot left, I put it in. If not, with the ploys, because I find something there, I just don't bother with a Healing Potion. And I'm not going for the 2 heals being the underdog, because my goal is to never be the underdog, because that means I lost someone and I don't want to. Yeah. But yeah, that's a bit of the whole idea of how I build my decks. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.